Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of the tism, where the true crime is just as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases, and the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm In.
And I'm Meg.
We are the Pandemonium. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good.
So Meg is not going to be joining us today.
No.
Unfortunately,
I mean, it's probably a good thing because we're talking about murder.
Yes, murder.
Oh my God. So I have to read you the conversation between the two of us. So I was like, are you coming on today? She goes, I can't. Knox has a birthday party. A Sunday morning birthday party. Who does that? And I was like, a Sunday morning?
Jesus.
A Sunday morning party? That's crazy. She goes, yeah, they are. What about the church bagels and the coffee? It's the Lord's gluten day. I said, it is. Don't forget about the stale strudel that Jan brought to the rectory. She goes, fucking Jan. I bet she ate the fresh one in her car before she came. And I said, sounds like Jan. Dirty hoe. This is why we don't invite her to Bunko. And I said, and that's why she cheats Wednesday night bingo. I was going to say, she cheats at Bunko too? No, she just makes us tell her the rules every time. Ma'am, this is a production, not preschool.
Oh, you should see her when she does Sunday evening cards with the red hat ladies.
No. You mean the Purple Hat Society? Yeah.
Oh, no, it's Red Hat.
It's Red Hat Society. That's right. My bad.
Yeah, not Purple Hat. It's Red Hats. Trust me, I should know. I'm an honorary member of the Methodist Church.
Wow.
Yeah, I became an honorary member before I left for the Navy. At 18.
Did you see, of course, we can't say it out loud, what I'm making my granddaughter. So it was my first time trying this. I'm putting it in the group chat. So that is the outline that I had to individually.
That looks so good.
And I had to individually cut each one. So the green part is 2. So it's one on top of the other.
Yo, that looks good though.
That took me an hour to do. I was complaining to Rachel this morning. I was like, that is a load of
And
bullshit. And yesterday.
You were also complaining yesterday.
But it's so cute because it's like, anyways.
You pulled out that early 1900s housewife. Man, I swear to fucking God, Janice better really like this fucking piece of shit.
Look, I love making quilts, but I love the fact that because Joann's is officially closed in our area, there are no Joann's fabrics in all of Texas. There's 4 still left in California. There's 2 in Virginia that I know of. There's one in Richmond, which is the biggest one out there. It's the big one, the warehouse one. The 2 that are in California are almost closed, but the one in here, they were supposed to reopen, or not reopen, but stay open until May. And they're all closed.
I hate it.
See, the last time I went to Joann's Fabrics, it was to get fabric to make a Legend of Vox Machina cosplay
Costume.
for Raven.
Yep.
And it's been over a year, and I still have not made it.
Woman, I was supposed to be on a video call with you to help you start it.
My sewing machine, so Big Bertha broke, and she is unfixable. Big Bertha is dead.
Stop.
Rest in peace.
Oh, no.
No.
And the sewing machine I got for Christmas, we thought we were moving, and it is packed in the back of the storage shed.
Yep. Well, we do have some stuff to go over for the podcast for our lovely party possums out there. You have you have stated, we have listened. We now have 88 followers. We have no new countries. 89 followers as of this morning. We got a new follower overnight. We've had my favorite amount of plays, 1990. Wiggity. Our most played one is obviously our first episode, but the second and third actually kind of surprised me. The second episode is the unsolved case of Rachel Hansen, which you guys know they reopened some aspects of it. And
Yes.
the coastal thriller, The Tale of the Green River Killer.
Interesting.
So those are the
Yeah.
top three. Following closely thereafter is Lucy Letby and Wonky Ouija boards with a dash of exorcism. Yeah. So no new comments. No. Nothing.
That's okay, though.
That's all right, though. That's all right. We did get a request. I think it was for Dr. Sister for what we're talking about today, right? Was it Dr. Sister or somebody else?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, Emily's going to be surprised because it's a double
Emily's always surprised.
Little surprises me.
I mean,
That's valid.
Lots excite me. Little surprises me.
Are you
I
actually
think
not
it's
drinking
like a
soda this morning?
I am not.
what?
I am drinking raspberry sweet tea.
Hey, it's not carbonated.
It's not
so I'll
carbonated,
take
so
it.
we'll take it. Yeah. As you can know, I have unpacked the mountain of boxes. And I have a stack of fabric over there, so don't pay attention to anything behind me.
It's all just an illusion.
Right.
Ignore the things behind me.
You guys make me sound like a fucking whore. It'll surprise me. Little surprises me. Lots excite me.
To be fair, Emily,
I'm listening.
with the lives that you and I have led, there's not a lot.
This is true.
Yeah.
That doesn't help with the whore allegations.
I mean, you're a hoe for some sushi.
I am a hoe for some sushi.
We
I
all
am.
are, which they need to make an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet where I live in California. And
They need to make a conveyor belt sushi.
they have one up in Richmond.
You think I'm driving? I will drive.
You will drive. Yeah. That being
You're
said,
like, no, wait, that's a lie.
Rachel, what is our double whammy topic for today?
The Borden murders.
This is a Pandemonium Witches podcast trigger warning. The following episode contains graphic violence and gruesome depictions. Listener discretion is advised.
How about that?
I love it.
That I like that.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
on my
me?
soundboard.
I love
She
that.
added to her soundboard.
Yeah. This is what I did last time. I think it was... No, not that one. Hold on.
Just
No,
kidding.
not that one.
Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Which is our opening credit music, guys. So yeah, we're talking about the worst game of whack-a-mole in history.
You good, Em?
Yep.
You got your
Had a burp.
hydration station all set up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have my breakfast.
I mean, it's food. I'll take it.
I'll be getting like actual food before I go back to work. I have my landscaping job today.
Ooh,
Oh,
yay.
boy.
We're traking down more trees.
You're
which
traking
means
down? Traking down?
Traking. Yep. Which means my thighs will be getting more work.
Listen.
Look, man, if I can kill a man with these thighs, I can cut a tree down with them, and vice versa.
Considering the
Crack
fact...
a watermelon.
I can, actually.
I can too.
I've never tried, so
I can do
don't
it with
know.
a honeydew melon.
Also, like 2 years, total side note, ADHD moment. 2
As per normal.
2 or 3 years ago, my husband's head was like sitting on my lap and I was playing with his hair. And I sneezed and I clenched my legs together and it pulled his neck up and it decompressed his spine.
Oh, very nice.
That's nice.
I have not been able to do it since. Not that I have tried,
That's valid.
So,
but yeah.
We do have to say, you know, because this is the first episode of May, we do have some birthdays coming up this month, including yours and mine. The next episode is going to be our birthday episode. So that's, I think I have that episode already prepped.
Happy birthday to you. Damn it for me.
No, because we do that episode together. I don't have that prepped, but it is a topic that you asked for. So
Yes. Another year of horrors must persist.
So
of what?
The horrors
must persist.
Yes. Not the horrors. Hi. So here is our birthday shout out. She's now just looking at the thing that I tagged her in a while ago. Yeah, it's what I'm going to put on there. Okay. So I'm not going to play it while I'm reading it, but okay. So very, very happy birthday to Sarah S. out in California. We also have, Kathy A. on the 6th, myself, yours truly, on the 8th, Daniel M. on the 9th, MM, our lovely little moon on the 11th. One of my kids, Cheyenne, Shy the MT, we got you on the 12th. Miriam on the 14th. Blondie is on the 16th. Elizabeth is going to be on the 17th. Elaney is on the 18th. Our lovely photographer Jess is on the 20th. And Addie is on the 21st. So congratulations, you guys. Happy monthly birthday. We're going to start doing that at the beginning episodes of every month. But, so we're going to be talking about some axe grinding today, right?
Kind of. It definitely involves axes, so.
It definitely does.
I was thinking like the middle school Axe body spray.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Axe grinding. Come on, guys. We need 4 cans to make those girls like us. No, you do not.
So nobody can breathe.
No, you do not.
Okay, so let's jump in then.
All right. Do you have your hydration stations, guys?
Yes.
I got an 8-pack.
Don't forget to hydrate, bitches. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so we're going to talk about Elizabeth, Lizzie, Andrew Borden.
Andrew? Was that one of her last names or was it a middle name?
It was a middle name.
God, her parents must have hated her.
Right. Okay, wait, hold on. She murdered her parents, so we can't...
Well, her dad and stepmom.
Right. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's right. Yeah. It's right. They're dead. What are they going to do?
There's a lot of things they could do.
There's a lot. As a medium on this show,
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Ow! Just had a hanger go up my butt.
I am taking that out. Good God. No.
I sat on a hanger.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was perfect timing, though.
It was.
It really was. I sat on. What are they gonna do? Ow! I sat on a hanger.
Ta-da!
Tara.
So she was. So TLDR.
Mm-hmm.
She was born July 19th, 1860, and died June 1st, 1927.
Okay.
She was an American woman who was tried and acquitted of the August 4th, 1892 axe murders of her father and stepmother in Fall River, Massachusetts.
So, our girl Lizzie was a Cancer.
Literally.
Listen.
Ow!
So, my mom and my dad are both Cancers. Cancers aren't supposed to be with each other. If they do, there's always going to be one dominant person. We already know who that is.
Right.
But Cancers are known as emotional, nurturing, and highly intuitive, often described as caretakers of the zodiac signs. They're also sensitive, can be self-protective, seeking security and stability. Their loyal nature and deep connection with loved ones are prominent traits, and they are known for their empathy and understanding.
I'm gonna pull my bullshit card on that.
I mean,
Anyway.
as far as Lizzie goes, yeah.
So no one else was charged in the murders,
Of course.
and despite ostracism from other residents, Lizzie spent the remainder of her life in Fall River. She died of pneumonia at the age of 66, just days before the death of her older sister, Emma.
Did she kill Emma?
No.
Okay.
No, she did not kill Emma.
Just wanted to make sure. Don't know.
They both died of old age.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good for them.
The murders and trial received widespread publicity in the United States and have remained a topic in American popular culture, depicted in numerous films, theatrical productions, literary works, and folk rhymes around the Fall River area.
Okay.
So she was born in Fall Rivers to Sarah Anthony Borden and Andrew Jackson Borden.
All right. Now I know where the Andrew comes from. Her dad.
Makes sense.
Right.
So Andrew was of English and Welsh descent and grew up in a very modest surroundings and struggled financially as a young man. Despite being the descendant of wealth and influential local residents. So dude had money.
Dude had a lot of change.
Not to do anything with it,
right,
but invest it. He eventually became successful in the manufacture and sale of furniture and caskets. And then he became a successful property developer.
I'm sorry. Caskets?
Caskets.
So this guy...
It was a booming business. Everyone was dying to get into it.
Listen. I was friends with guys from a mortuary. Because, who isn't? And when I tell you they have the funniest senses of humor.
You have to in that.
Oh yeah.
Line of job.
Oh yeah. Anyone who like rewind take two.
Words.
English is hard this early in the morning.
Yep.
Anyone who works with the dead, like mortuary, even first responders, anyone who like has first contact with dead, you have to have a dark sense of humor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why when we originally became friends.
Those jokes, man.
Oh my God. So we were, okay, we have to just for just a second.
Just a moment.
Emily's dying over there.
I'm just remembering.
Are you good? Are you good?
Anyways, so he was a director of multiple textile mills and owned considerable commercial properties.
Okay.
He was also the president of the Union Savings Bank and a director of the Durfee Safe Deposit and Trust Company.
So he had money.
At the time of his murder, his estate was valued at $300,000 then. You want to know how much it is now?
Please.
$10,472,670.33.
Oh my God. I wonder if that's changed yet.
That was in 2025, so.
Yeah.
Damn. He had money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was also well known for being extremely frugal.
That's why he had
Which is
money.
why he had that money.
Right.
He was so frugal, their home didn't have indoor plumbing, even though it was very common for the wealthy at the time.
Well,
You
didn't
tell me I got to go outside to shit in a bucket?
Right. So
or in a pot.
Wasn't
take the pot outside?
Wasn't it every other house in the area, because they lived in a really wealthy neighborhood? Most of the houses in the area already had indoor plumbing, but they would have to retrofit their whole house. So if I remember correctly, there was like a few.
So the house was in an affluential area. So it was in a good area. But the wealthiest of the community, along with Andrew's cousins, lived in a more fashionable neighborhood, which is called The Hill, which was the forte.
Oh.
That was forte from the industrial areas. I think I mistyped.
You're good. You're good.
I think that was supposed to say that was further from
Oh,
the
okay.
industrial areas.
Okay. Okay, fair.
So, Lizzie and Emma
Mm-hmm.
had a relatively religious upbringing and attended Central Congregational Church. Lizzie was very involved in the church things, going as far as being a Sunday school teacher to recent immigrants' children's, and was also involved in religious organizations like Christian Endeavor Society, where she was the secretary treasurer, and contemporary social movement like the Women's Christian Temperance Union. So she was very active in the church things.
So Lizzie sounds like a stand-up gal.
She was also a member of the Ladies' Fruit and Flower Mission.
Good for her.
What is that? Like, straight up, what is that? I've never heard of that.
I don't know, they're probably flower arrangements and...
To Google!
So, 3 years after Sarah died, Andrew remarries. He marries Abby Durfee Gray, who was born in 1828 and passed in 1892.
I found out what it was.
What is it?
Every Thursday, they take flowers and fruit to sick people in hospitals.
Oh, I love that!
Okay, that's kind of sweet.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The Flower Mission Society, carried on by young ladies. Every Thursday, they take flowers. This is from May 15th, 1886, the Pacific Rural Press. Every Thursday, they take flowers and fruit to the sick in the hospitals and to the sick poor in their homes.
Okay, so like the
They ask children to gather wild flowers, as well as flowers from their gardens.
Oh, I love that. They're so sweet.
Okay, I like that. I wonder if they're still doing that. You can continue. I'm going to keep looking into this,
Okay.
because if they're still doing that, I am like here for it.
Right? Like, how do I get involved with that?
Right? Like, I am here for that.
So, Lizzie has said that she called Abby Mrs. Borden, and that they had a cordial relationship, and that she believed that Abby only married her father for his wealth. So obviously wasn't a real fan of the stepmom.
I mean, no one really likes stepmoms. Hi.
I was going to say.
Some stepmoms aren't so bad.
You're pretty awesome.
Right? So they had a live-in maid whose name was Bridget Sullivan, but was often called Maggie. She was 25 and had immigrated from Ireland. And Bridget testified that Lizzie and Emma rarely ate meals with their father and their stepmother. So they obviously don't like the stepmom, because that's a little weird for, it's either they don't like their dad or they really don't like the stepmom. Because by this point, they were young adults. So May of 1892, Andrew killed multiple pigeons in the barn with a hatchet, fully believing they were attracting local children to hunt the birds, because their barn had recently been broken into. And he thought that, because of the pigeons, that's why it got broke into, and we're just going to get rid of the pigeons. Well, Lizzie had a soft heart when it came to animals. She loved animals. She had recently built a roost for the birds, and it was said that she was really upset at her dad for killing them. Granted, this could also be hearsay, but she had a soft spot for animals.
Well, yeah, because she's...
I mean, everyone should have a soft spot for animals. Animal abusers
Yes.
deserve to rot in hell.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Agreed. But I mean,
So, like, once Andrew realized he no longer had need for the family horse, he sold the horse. So there was nothing else but the pigeons living in the barn, because he decided that if it serves no purpose, we don't need it.
right.
We're not feeding it.
Right.
Whereas he was okay with the pigeons because they would end up on the kitchen table or the dining room table. So he was okay with the pigeons until the barn got broken into. So 2 months later, in July of 1892, there was a rather heated family argument that prompted Lizzie and Emma to take extended vacations in New Bedford. After returning from their vacations a week prior to the murders, Lizzie chose to stay at a local rooming house for 4 days before finally going back to the Borden house.
Does it say why?
I couldn't find any details about what the argument was about, just that it had to have been fairly heated for both girls to leave for extended vacation. Because they'd already planned on leaving to go visit family.
Right.
But for them to then go, we're going to extend our visit to stay away.
Right.
So for listeners that don't know what a local rooming house is, it's a multi-tenant house where individual rooms were rented out while the kitchen, bathroom facilities, living room area were all shared spaces.
And if they want to go back to like another episode that we did that featured something like that, they can go to the World's Worst Landlady episode where we talked about her, kind of offing her clients.
Right. So backtrack before the argument. Months before the murders ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently tensions had been growing within the family, especially with Andrew's gifts of real estate to different branches of Abby's family.
What?
So he was gifting away
just
properties
why?
to her family. And so that's what they think that the argument was about.
Okay.
So the Borden sisters had demanded and received a rental property after Abby's sister had received a house. The home that they had lived in until their mother had died, and that they had to purchase from their father for $1.
I
the
beg
rental
your
property
finest...
that they got,
yes,
they had to purchase from their father for $1 in that money time. And then a few weeks before the murders, they then sold the property back to their father for $5,000.
What year was that?
1892.
She gonna look up the price.
Yes.
As she often does.
Listen.
How much was it?
Hold on. Okay. $1 in 2020. What month is this? April?
Yes.
Oh, it only goes back as far as 1913.
Rude.
Okay, so we'll say 1913. $1 in 1913 is $32.30. So we can expect it to go up a little bit more.
Like $45.
Yeah. So we'll make it an even 50. They paid $50.
Right. For this property. And then sold it back to their father for $5,000.
I fucking wish. So 5,000
times 50
in 1913. Holy shit.
Which is like what?
In 1913, $5,000 is equivalent to $161,514.65.
They made a nice sum off of it.
Yeah. You know what I could do with that much fucking money?
Same.
I could pay off all of my bills and my debt, and with the leftover $3, I could buy a taco.
Just one taco.
Just one.
So, the night before the murders, John Vinicum Morse, who was Lizzie and Emma's maternal uncle, visited and was invited to stay a few days to discuss business matters with Andrew. Which obviously led to speculation that the conversation, particularly of property transfer, might have aggravated an already tense issue. Then, but also, several days before the murders, the whole household got sick.
Like influenza? Or like food poisoning?
Oh no, it's the Spanish flu.
Not yet. Nobody's really sure. A family friend thought it was the mutton that had been left on the stove, which had been used in meals over several days, as the culprit. Abby, of course, thought it was poison, since Andrew wasn't a popular man in town. So on one hand, it might have been poison. On the other hand, it might have been severe food poisoning. We don't know.
So her dad already wasn't a very popular guy.
No, not at all. So their maternal uncle, John, arrived August 3rd in the evening and slept in the guest room that night. We are now August 4th.
Okay.
After breakfast the next morning, where everybody was at.
Yeah.
Andrew and John went into the sitting room to chat for about an hour.
Okay.
John then left the house around 8:48 a.m. to buy a pair of oxen and then go to visit a different niece in town before planning to return for lunch.
Okay.
And lunch was at noon. So he had plenty of time to do all the things, all of his errands. Andrew then left for his morning walk sometime after 9 a.m. Okay. Even though cleaning the guest room was something that Lizzie and Emma were expected to do, Abby instead went upstairs to do it sometime between 9 and 10:30.
Okay.
It was there that she was killed. She was said to have been facing her attacker at the time of her demise.
Of course.
She was struck on the side of the head with a hatchet that cut her just above her ear, which caused her to turn and fall face down on the floor, which then created contusions on her nose and forehead because down she went.
So wait, I gotta ask a question because the person who taught me the nursery rhyme, now I'm really curious. Lizzie Borden had an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she seen what she had done, she gave her father 41. Is that not the case?
No.
Oh, okay.
So basically got hit above the ear with force, I'm assuming with the velocity of getting hit. That's how she spun around and then fell face down.
Mm-hmm.
The killer then struck her more times, delivering 17 direct hits to the back of her head, which resulted in killing her.
For fuck's sake.
Jesus. A little overkill, but okay, Kratos.
When Andrew returned home at 10:30 a.m., he found out that his key didn't work on the front door, which caused him to knock on the door.
Okay.
So, the door was jammed. Bridget went to open the door, finding it jammed, and it is reported that she cursed about the door being stuck because I'm sure she was muttering, going, "Stupid fucking door."
Right.
Because that's what any of us would do. She reported that she heard Lizzie laughing after she had cursed, saying it sounded like it was coming from the top of the stairs, but that she didn't see Lizzie.
Okay, that's odd.
This was significant, considering that since Abby was already dead upstairs at the time,
Right.
and the body would have been seen by anybody that was walking on the second floor.
Huh. Okay.
Lizzie, of course, denied being on the second floor and said that her father had asked her where Abby was, but that a messenger had delivered a summons for Abby to go visit a sick friend. Little suspicious.
Little suspicious.
Anyways, Bridget gets Andrew into the house. She then she states that she removed his boots, helped him into his slippers before he went to go lay down on the sofa for a nap. But that contradicts photos of the crime scene that showed him still in his boots.
She wouldn't have put them back on.
Why would she put them back on after he was killed?
Right. She wouldn't have done that.
Right.
I mean,
so
people do weird shit. Okay, listen.
That's valid. But also, if that was the routine constantly, and then he decided, I don't want to change out, she might have just been misremembering. Like, she could have just been like, oh, no, that's, my brain's playing tricks on me. We don't know. Bridget also said she was in her third floor room resting from cleaning windows when just before 11:10 a.m., she heard Lizzie call from downstairs, Maggie, come quick, father's dead. Somebody came in and killed him. At this point, Andrew was slumped on a couch in the downstairs sitting room, and was struck 10 or 11 times with a hatchet-like weapon. Oh, you're going to be gagging here in a second.
Oh, great.
Oh, this is my turn. Hold on. I need to get another tea. I'm loving this. Hold on. Okay, continue.
One of his eyes had been split cleanly in two, which suggested that he was asleep when he was attacked.
Oh, that is gnarly.
What?
His still bleeding wounds meant it was a recent attack.
Jesus Christ.
The family physician lived across the street.
Of course, when you're rich, you have a family physician.
Of course.
Came from his house and then pronounced Andrew and Abby dead.
Of course.
Detectives estimated Andrew's time of death to occurred around 11 a.m.
Oh, to have been a physician in that time, just to walk in, see their head split open, and go,
Yeah, they're
yep,
dead.
They're dead.
Ain't getting any deader.
Because now it's like, we have to at least attempt CPR. No, you don't. His head is over there.
That's valid.
Cat's dying.
So, Lizzie's answers to the officer's questions were strange and contradictory at times. She first reported about hearing a groan, a scraping noise, or even a distress call before going into the house. Then, 2 hours later, she told the cops that she hadn't heard anything before entering the house, unaware of anything was wrong.
The math ain't math in here, my dude.
I'm
Right.
bad at math, but god damn, these numbers don't add up. Oh, look, I found another sticker idea.
She was asked where Abby was, and she said that she remembered that Abby had received a note asking her to visit a sick friend. She also said she thought that Abby had returned and asked if someone could go upstairs to look for her, because at that point, they only knew Andrew was dead.
Right.
Had no clue Abby was upstairs.
Right.
So Bridget and a neighbor, Mrs. Churchill, were halfway up the stairs when they saw Abby laying face down, dead on the floor.
Oh.
I shouldn't laugh.
Their eyes had been level with the floor as they walked up the stairs and then looked into the guest room where they saw Abby.
Oh, shit.
Talk about a nightmare.
Right.
So most of the cops that interviewed Lizzie didn't like her attitude, while some said she was too calm and poised.
Mm-hmm.
But despite her attitude and changing stories, she wasn't checked for bloodstains.
Okay, but like, could be shell shock, which is now known, to be fair.
Right.
Could be in shock. I've seen that in person. Right. Where you're just like so shook, you're like, I'm not going to react.
Numb.
Right. Yeah. So like, I'm not.
I cover that in my theories.
Yeah. All that in my theories. Okay. Like, I'm not taking her side. I'm just saying.
Right. Like, there's not a lot of plausible deniability. So the police did search Lizzie's room, but like men, they only kind of do a quick little glance and didn't see shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when asked about it at trial, they said they didn't do a proper search because Lizzie was not feeling well. And they were then criticized for their lack of diligence.
I fucking wish. No, Mr. Officer, I don't feel like doing this interview with you.
Well, so
I don't feel good.
One thing I read, it was, they asked her why there was, bloody cloths in a bucket. And she went, really?
Right.
What do you think that is? It's my monthlies.
Right.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's basically the police officers freaked out and ran away. Because you don't talk about that kind of stuff. And she's like, that's why they're in the bucket.
Why is there bloody clothes in here? My uterus is trying to kill me. Oh, God, never mind. Right. My bad. Ew, women stuff.
Pretty much. So, while searching the basement/cellar, they found 2 hatchets, 2 axes, and a hatchet head with a broken handle.
Okay, I mean, they lived on a farm, but to break
they lived in town.
Well, okay, so to break a hatchet handle, it's actually super difficult, especially if you're not... I mean, I'm weak upper. Like, my legs are pretty fucking strong. Emily's seen my calves. You've seen my calves. They're pretty fucking hefty bitches.
Yeah, a brick house.
They are. I'm a brick house.
So the hatchet head was thought to be the murder weapon, as the break in the handle was believed to be fresh, and the ash and dust on the head appeared to have been put there purposefully to make it appear that it had been in the basement for a long time. But none of these things were removed from the house.
Huh. Okay.
So back to the sickness that happened before the murders. Due to that having swept through the house before the murders, the family's milk and the victims' stomachs, which were removed in the dining room, were tested for poison.
Of course.
And none was found.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Emily, they used to perform the autopsies in the murder houses.
Okay, you know how I said not a lot of stuff surprises me anymore?
Yep.
Hold the fucking phone.
Yes. Oh, hold the phone there. Hold the phone. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yep.
That shit don't make no fucking sense.
Nope.
Mortuaries were not a common occurrence.
Hold on, guys. I got this here. Put this in the fridge next to the milk for me. Put this in the freezer next to the ice cream. Thanks.
Oh my God.
Anyways, right, so back up. Some residents thought Lizzie had purchased hydrocyanic acid in a diluted form from a local druggist. Because she said in her defense that she had inquired about using the acid to clean her furs, despite the local medical examiner's testimony that it didn't have any antiseptic properties.
Oh, great.
So, all of this happened August 4th.
Okay.
That night, Alice Russell, who was Lizzie and Emma's friend, stayed the night at the home with the girls. While their Uncle John slept in the attic guest room.
Wow.
Although some accounts say he slept in the room that Abby died in.
No, why?
You wanted to get freaky with a ghostie.
Police were stationed at the house that night, and one officer said he saw Lizzie and Alice go into the cellar carrying a kerosene lamp and a slop pail.
A slop pail?
He said it was a slop pail. It could have just been a pail she probably had her monthlies in. I don't know.
Right.
Who knows?
He
said he then saw them leave the cellar, and then Lizzie went back into the cellar alone, but he wasn't able to see what she was doing, but that it appeared she was bent over the sink.
Okay.
I mean, she could have been doing anything.
Right.
So the next morning, August 5th, Uncle John left the house and was mobbed by hundreds of people, to the point that the police had to escort him back to the house. August 6th. But also, leave that poor man alone. He just lost his brother-in-law. And he just wants to go home, care about his business.
Right.
Leave him alone. August 6th. The police did a more thorough search of the house this time, inspected the inspected the sisters' clothings, and then confiscated the broken-handled hatchet head. And that evening, so evening of the 6th, an officer and the mayor visited the house, and Lizzie was told then that she was a suspect for the murders.
Jesus.
August 7th, Alice found Lizzie tearing up a dress in the kitchen. When asked what she was doing, Lizzie replied that she had to burn the dress due to it being covered in paint. And I put, or was it? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was never determined if the dress had been the one she had been wearing on the day of the murders. August 8th, Lizzie appeared at the inquest that was formed. She had requested the family's attorney to be present, but was refused under a state statute that said an inquiry must be held in private. Seems fucking sketchy as fuck to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Legal representation. Her lawyer should have at least been there.
Yeah, but you have to remember this was a time where women
had no rights.
Right, they were hysterical, and so doctors actually found out that that's incorrect about the whole doctors creating vibrators for hysteria or whatever. I was like, no, that's what we were taught. Apparently it wasn't.
Oh, speaking of doctors and nerves, during this time frame, she had been prescribed morphine to calm her nerves, and that is possibly why her testimony was affected by the morphine.
Jesus Christ.
Her behavior was erratic, and she often refused to answer questions, despite the answers could have helped her. She contradicted herself often and provided different accounts of what happened on the morning of the 4th. One was that she was in the kitchen reading a magazine when her father got home. Another was that she was in the dining room doing some ironing. And another was that she was coming down the stairs.
To be fair, in those situations, because Emily can tell you I had to file a police report on Joey.
Right.
He had tried to throw me down the stairs and tried to throw me through the door. I don't think ex-bestie was there at the time. I remember her being upset that it happened in the house, but I don't think... Emily, do you remember if she was there?
I don't think so.
I don't think she was there. I remember they asked me for something that day, and then a week or two later, they asked me the same question again. I was like, honestly, I can't remember. And they just kind of rolled their eyes. And I was like, no, you don't understand. And I showed them my scar on my forehead and wipe off the makeup on my forehead. And I was like, I had a TBI at a young age. There are certain things I can't remember. And they were like, oh. And I was like, but I did write it down. And I went to my little notes app on my phone. And I said it happened at this time with this stuff. Because I knew they were probably going to come back later and ask me questions I wasn't going to be able to answer.
Right.
And luckily for M, she told me you should probably write everything down. And I was like, there's no way.
Hard to do.
Well, I know, but I mean, I was like, there's no way they're going to come back. This, the case is sealed because it's like, we had him dead to rights breaking into the house,
Right.
Like, how dumb you got to be. Anyways, besides the point, keep going.
Pretty fucking dumb.
I mean, he was. So.
Anyway, so the whole time, the defense attorney was very aggressive and confrontational.
As they do.
August 11th, Lizzie was served with an arrest warrant and was placed in the jail.
Oh.
The inquest testimony, which was the basis for the modern debate on if Lizzie was guilty or not, was later ruled inadmissible at her trial in June 1893.
Wait a minute, why?
I don't like that.
Probably because probably the way they were acting towards her and
right, okay,
just grilling her and everything, and probably also the fact that she didn't have a man there to hold her hand during the whole thing.
Oh my god,
the scandal, que scalinde. Right.
Some contemporaneous newspaper articles noted Lizzie possessed a stolid demeanor and bit her lips, flushed, and bent towards Attorney Adams.
So they pulled a Casey Anthony, is what you're saying.
Right. They're trying to paint her in a bad light.
Okay.
As it was also reported that the testimony provided in the inquest had caused a change of opinion among her friends who have heretofore strongly maintained her innocence. It was also reported that her testimony provided at the inquest had caused a change of opinion. Oh, I just read that again. Just kidding. Tired brain.
I do that all the time. It's okay.
The inquest received significant press attention nationwide. And in my notes, I went, nationwide is on your side. Including an extensive 3-page write-up in the Boston Globe.
Oh, okay. So she got some pretty big press.
Coast to coast, she got airtime on this shit.
Oh, Jesus.
A grand jury began hearing evidence on November 7th, and Lizzie was indicted on December 2nd.
Okay.
So the trial took place in New Bedford on June 5th, 1893. Because they can't exactly have it in the same town that they were in, because impartial and bias are not a, jury of your peers has to be impartial.
Right. It can't be people that you like or dislike. It has to be combination.
Or people that have known you your whole life. Yeah.
Right.
So the prosecuting attorneys were Hosea M. Knowlton and future United States Supreme Court Justice William H. Moody.
How about that for a name? Mad Eye
so.
Moody. I love that.
Defending attorneys were Andrew V. Jennings, Melvin O. Adams, and former Massachusetts Governor George D. Robinson.
Wow, the governor got in on it. Okay. All right.
5 days before the trial's commencement, June 1st, another axe murder happened in Fall River. Couldn't be Lizzie this time. She's sitting in jail.
Right. Was there any correlation between the two, though? Like, did they try to...
They did try to see if it was...
along the same lines.
Similar.
Yeah.
This time, Bertha Manchester was found hacked to death in her kitchen.
Bertha Manchester. All right.
The similarities between the two murders were striking and were noted by jurors.
Okay.
Jose Correia de Mayo, who was a Portuguese immigrant, was later convicted of Bertha's murders in 1894, but was determined to have not been in the vicinity of Fall River to have committed the other murders.
Okay. I mean, that wasn't at a time where cars were prevalent either.
Right, but trains.
Correct.
But also, usually you're in an area for a while unless you run off for some other reason.
Ooh, fun fact. Did you know that hop, skip, and a jump is regarding train jumping?
Yes.
I did not. The more you know.
Boxcar Children.
Yeah. Boxcar Children. Love that.
Yes. Because I read that series as a child.
Me too.
A huge point of discussion in the trial and in the press coverage of it was that the hatchet head that was found in the basement/cellar was not convincingly demonstrated by the prosecution to be the murder weapon. Prosecutors argued the killer had removed the handle because it would have been covered in blood. I'm sorry, do you know how hard it is to remove the handle of a hatchet?
Yes.
Extremely fucking hard.
Now ask Emily how hard it is to remove a head from a hatchet, because where was the hatchet buried when I was living in Virginia?
Which one?
I love when she goes, which one?
The one that was in your husband's leg?
Oh, in the bone.
I literally get this frantic phone call and she goes, "Can you come here?" And I was like,
He buried a hatchet in his leg.
He buried a hatchet in his leg. And I was like,
talk about burying the hatchet, but leaving the handle sticking out.
Oh yeah. That was a fun trip to the emergency room.
Oh, I bet.
It wasn't terrible.
No, but we got some questionable looks.
Probably a lot of questionable looks.
It honestly not as questionable as the looks that he got when he tickled me and I elbowed him in the eyebrow and it swelled his eye shut. And I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. So we went to the ER. Well, I had him go to the ER.
A bone.
I did. I cracked his orbital bone.
Because he fucked around.
And found out.
He found out.
He tickled me from behind and I swung my elbow back and cracked his orbital bone wide open.
Because you got it just right.
Just right. And the doctor was like, "Hey, what happened?" And he was like, "Oh, my
wife hit me.
My wife hit me." And he was like, "Are you safe at home?" He was like, "Oh no, I totally deserve this. I tickled her." And the doc was like, "Oh yeah, you had that shit coming."
Like, Josh loves it. He loves making me laugh. And it's gotten to the point where I just scream, "I'm gonna pee!" And he puts his hands up. Because last time I accidentally elbowed him like super close to the sternum and he went, "Ugh!" And I was like, you fucked around and you found out.
Not because we learned a lesson today, boys and girls. Okay, so one officer testified that a hatchet handle was found near the head, but then a different officer contradicted it.
What? Okay, in the house or like?
So when they looked through the house and they found the two hatchets,
right?
The hatchet head with the broken handle and the cellar/basement.
Yes.
One officer said that a handle was found nearby, near the head, but then another officer was like, "No, it wasn't."
Like, what you smoking? Okay.
They couldn't even get their shit straight.
I mean, okay.
I can't even get my shit straight now.
Seriously.
That's valid. So it was also brought up that there was no bloody clothes found, and Alice was questioned, and she said, that she'd seen Lizzie burn or tear up a dress, and that she had watched her burn it in the kitchen stove because it had been ruined when she had brushed against wet paint. Where were you at that was painting?
Right.
Wouldn't you like
The
to know,
fact
weather boy?
that the whole dress had to be destroyed. Because back then, the dresses were in two parts. You had the bodice, you had the top part, and then you had the skirt.
Right.
It was my monthlies again.
But she said it was paint, so...
Right.
I had to destroy the whole dress. The top part was paint. The bottom part was my monthlies.
Sure. Okay.
I bled through the red petticoat and everything.
Exactly.
My
you know-
God.
But then, like, that would only make sense if she then also burned all of her other undergarments with it.
Right.
It was just
Well-
the dress.
Well, maybe she did. Sister wasn't there when she started the fire. We didn't start the fire.
Oh my God.
We're just dealing with the smoke and the aftermath.
Exactly.
That sounds like a
During
cool
the-
album title.
Right. During the course of the trial, the defense never attempted to challenge the statement.
Of course they didn't.
Of course. Lizzie's
woman.
presence at the house was another point of dispute during the trial. According to Uncle John's testimony, he had entered the second floor at about 10:58 a.m. and had left Lizzie and her father downstairs.
Okay.
Lizzie told several people that at the time she had gone into the barn and wasn't in the house for 20 minutes or possibly a half hour. She wasn't sure.
Right.
Maybe between 20 minutes and a half hour. Like, it's close enough.
Close enough. Good enough for government work.
A neighbor testified for the defense, saying that he saw Lizzie leave the barn at about 11:03 a.m. and another neighbor confirmed the time frame. So, okay, yeah, she's got a solid alibi on that one. At 11:10 a.m., Lizzie called Bridget downstairs, told her that Andrew had been murdered, not to enter the room, and then sent her to go get a doctor. Which, I mean, makes sense.
Makes complete sense.
His head's split in two. Like, he's dead. Like, go get somebody.
Right.
I don't know. He
You
might
don't
be
need
alive.
to go see this. You don't need to see this. I've already seen it enough.
Right.
Go get help.
He could be alive.
Maybe.
But you never know.
At this point, no. Because both heads have been removed during...
What? Wait a minute!
Wait! There's more!
Of course there's always more Billy Mays! Come on,
The
damn!
skulls were admitted into evidence during the trial and presented on June 5th.
No, they were not!
Yes, they were brought into the courtroom.
I'm gonna puke. I'm glad I haven't eaten yet.
When Lizzie saw the skulls in the courtroom, she fainted.
Of course she did.
Fucking would have too.
Are you shitting me?
Like, last time she saw that head, it was attached to her father and her stepmother. Like,
I don't mean
now they're just vacant staring it out. What's that shit?
Emily, the fact that Emily's just losing this, she's got her hand over her mouth. She's holding her mic because the mic just keeps bobbing up and down every time she laughs.
There's a fucking worm coming in and out.
Oh my God, it's the corpse bride. Oh my God.
I'm fucking crying.
So, anyways, the evidence that she had sought to buy prussic acid, which is hydrogen cyanide, was excluded. So they didn't even include that.
What the fuck, man?
The judge ruled that the incident was too remote in time to have any connection.
You good? You good, fam?
No. Okay.
Presiding Associate Justice Justin Dewey, who had been appointed by former Governor Robinson when he had been governor, delivered a lengthy summary that supported the defense as his charge to the jury before sending them to deliberate on June 20th, 1893.
Okay.
Do we want to guess how long it took for their deliberation?
1 hour.
I'm gonna say the whole day. I'm gonna give
An
them
hour and a half.
Stop it.
And then they acquitted Lizzie of the murders.
Dumb
A woman
bitches.
can't murder. Not when she's on her monthlies.
When exiting the courthouse, she told reporters that she was the happiest woman in the world.
Yeah, because she now has her father's estates. All of his money.
Oh, not just her father's estates, the stepmother's too.
Fuck's sake.
The trial has been compared to the later trials of Bruno Hauptmann, Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, and O.J. Simpson as landmark in publicity and public interest in the history of American legal proceedings.
It's true. There were what was it? Because I was, a ghostwriter, so there was a lot of different cases out there that they said these are the top 5 cases in history.
Right.
And the top one, aside from like just regular news things, it was like the Titanic, the Lindenberg baby, and Lizzie Borden. Those were like within the top 5. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. It's a lot.
So Bruno was actually convicted of the abduction and killing of the Lindenberg baby.
Yep.
Ethel and Julius Rosenberg were an American couple that were convicted of spying for the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully all of our listeners know about O.J. Simpson. If not, he was tried and acquitted for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman.
So it's that phrase that everybody was saying on TikTok. I want to say, what was it, like a year ago, Emily? If it doesn't fit, you mustn't acquit. Or you must acquit, or something like that. It was like one of those.
My love. You're so pretty.
Thanks.
From the O.J. Simpson case, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
That
Yes.
some guy turned it into a techno jam.
Oh, cool.
And it was all over TikTok. So if I have another person request, like we had with the Casey Anthony case, we'll cover it. I won't like it.
O.J. Simpson was a hell of a the low speed Bronco chase.
Jesus Christ.
And oh god, I could say some stuff about that.
We're not going to unless somebody requests it. So if you have a request, we'll do it at the end of the thing. Anyways, keep going.
So after the trial, the sisters moved out of the murder house.
I fucking would too.
Into a large modern house in the community, the Hill community.
Okay.
Neighborhood. Lizzie started going by Lisbeth A. Borden, which I don't blame her.
Right.
Because she needed more
changed
adult
my last
name.
name. The fuck?
Lisbeth named their new home Maplecroft, and they had staff that included live-in maids, a housekeeper, and a coachman.
Of course, because she had money now. More money.
Right. Because since Abby had died first, all of Abby's money and estates went to Andrew.
Okay.
And then because Andrew died, it then went, because the way his will was set up, it was split evenly between Elizabeth and Emma.
Okay.
However, they did get a considerable settlement was paid to settle claims by Abby's family. So they did pay her family a chunk.
I mean, I would too, because they would be foaming at the fucking mouth.
Right.
Going,
Especially
where's the damn money?
Well, not just that, because Andrew was giving them all these things. All these things.
Right.
And then all of a sudden...
money dried up.
Right.
Yeah.
But despite the acquittal, Elizabeth was ostracized by town society, and her name was brought into the public eye, back up into the public eye, when she was accused of shoplifting in Providence, Rhode Island in 1897.
Huh.
Damn it, Lizzie.
Seriously. You had one job, dude.
So in 1905, Lizzie and Emma got into a huge argument over a party Elizabeth had given actress Nancy O'Neill.
Okay.
So because of the argument, Emma moved out of the house and never saw her sister again.
Oh. Okay.
Aside from the parties that she threw, Elizabeth pretty much just kind of stayed below radar and just kind of did her own thing. She took care of animals and just lived her life. She never got married, never had any kids, just did her own thing. So fast forward, end of her life. She was ill during the last year following the removal of her gallbladder.
Oh.
She died of pneumonia on June 1st, 1927, at the age of 66.
Okay.
Funeral details weren't published, and very few attended her service.
Jeez.
9 days later, June 10th, 1927, Emma died from chronic nephritis in a nursing home in New Market, New Hampshire.
Okay.
She had moved to New Market in 1923 for both health reasons and to avoid renewed attention following the publication of another book that was written about the family murders.
Of course, because it was like highly publicized everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both sisters were buried side by side in the family plot in Oak Grove Cemetery.
Okay.
At the time of Elizabeth's death, she was worth over $250,000. I did not get a chance to convert that to today's money.
Wait, hold on. I got this. What year?
1927.
So
1927, and then how much was it?
$250,000.
250.
while she's looking that up.
Cool.
Okay.
Hold on.
Do I
Just don't spray it all over the laptop.
$250,000 in 1927. In 2025, with a inflation rate of 1,737.9%,
Holy shit.
is $4,594,813.22.
So I'm proposing we go back in time
With all the money that we have,
and place some stocks and some bets, and then come forward in time and pay off all our debts. Yeah.
we come back and like forward in time, we're gonna be millionaires.
Seriously.
Right.
So
I'm investing in the the Pepsi and Coke companies. The fuck.
serious.
So Elizabeth also owned a house on the corner of French Street and Belmont Street, owned several office buildings, had shares in several utilities, had 2 cars, and a large amount of jewelry.
Huh.
So, how much would $30,000 in 1927 be?
30,000.
30,000.
It's same year. 30,000. Same inflation rate. It is
Mhm.
$551,377.59.
She left that amount to the Fall River Animal Rescue League.
Okay, that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
You know,
Um,
we're here for the small mercies.
and she left $500 in a trust for the perpetual care of her father's grave. If she
Okay.
hated the man, why'd she leave money to take care of her father's grave?
And just a heads up, $500 is $9,189.63 in today's money.
Mm.
Like, she hated the man. Why would she leave money for the upkeep of his grave?
Right.
I could understand if she did it for her mother's grave,
Right.
but not her father or stepmother's. But
I don't know.
So she left her closest friend and a cousin, 2 different people,
Right.
$6,000 each.
What?
She left her closest friend and a cousin, two different people, $6,000 each.
$110,275.52.
In substantial sums for the estate's distribution in 1927. And then she also left numerous friends and family members between $1,000 and $5,000 each. So she divided her assets very widely.
1,000 is, if you round up to the nearest dollar, $18,380, and 5,000 is $91,896.26.
I say we go back in time and just make friends with her.
After the murders, of course.
I have a walnut for a bladder. I apologize.
I figured that's what happened. So even though she was acquitted,
Abuela.
she always... What about Abuela?
What about my abuela? She's not here right now. What's up?
So my friend sent me a TikTok, and I constantly forget first thing in the morning how to spell abuela, and so I have to have my stupid phone say it, like spell it for me. And so I sent him, "How dare you make me watch this with my own eyes on my abuela's Wi-Fi?"
Jesus Christ. Anyways, you were saying, Rachel.
Okay.
Yes.
So she always remained the prime suspect in the murders.
Right.
Because of course.
Of course she did. Yeah.
Writer Victoria Lincoln in 1967 suggested that Lisbeth might have committed the murders in a fugue state or a dissociative state.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little kind of dive on that for our listeners.
Research purposes, of course.
So it's called dissociative fugue or a psychogenic fugue. It's a rare psychiatric condition characterized by reversible amnesia regarding one's identity, often accompanied by unexpected traveling or wandering. In some cases, individuals may assume a new identity and be unable to recall personal information from before the onset of symptoms. It's classified as a mental and behavioral disorder and is variously categorized as a dissociative disorder, a conversion disorder, or my computer changed words on me, or a something active disorder.
Something does it literally say something?
No, it says, so my computer changed the words as I was typing. So what my computer wrote, not what I wrote, what my computer changed it as is, or a so active symptom disorder.
Ah!
What I wrote. Hold on, let me go back to my link real quick. I know exactly where it's at.
Okay. This is why we put the links in our notes. Not just for me when I'm posting everything on our page. It's for when we're reading through on this, and let's say it skipped 4 pages for me and I was like, shit.
Right.
Like, what do I do?
Okay, so it's supposed to be a somatic symptom disorder. Not what my computer put at all.
You know what? Good enough for government work.
Good enough for government work.
Also, real quick, I'm reading the story, and I need to tell you guys this quote because it is very funny, and I think you guys will like it.
Mm.
It is safe for work. I want to put that out there.
Okay.
He breaks down the door with a hammer, and he says, "You told me not to open the door, but you didn't tell me not to break it down, motherfucker."
I mean, it's valid.
It is very valid. So there have been a load of books about her entire situation.
Right.
And a lot of movies too.
And TV shows. Didn't they inspire a few criminal minds?
Like, I can get into that, guys. Quit jumping ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, fuck
sorry.
you. Do what I want.
So this is so fugue state is according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, and it is a subset of dissociative amnesia. So, I mean, she might have. Not saying she did or didn't.
Right.
Just saying it is a possibility that, she just kind of checked out for a little while and came back.
Yeah.
She's not paying attention.
See ya.
Hi, kiddos! Tell him I said happy birthday again. She's doing some sort of pantomiming thing. Anyways.
Right. So another suggestion was that she had been physically and sexually abused by her father, which drove her to kill him. There is little evidence to support this, but incest wasn't exactly discussed at the time.
No.
And methods for collecting physical evidence was quite different in 1892.
Right, because
we
talked about it on the other So I Saw an Axe Murder episode where it was the Visalia Axe House, and people had just walked through there like a freaking carousel.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just like a few things had gone missing, as it were, but it's like the axe,
and then like one of the girls' night dresses was pulled up, and right,
and it's just like there were things that happened, and however, okay, we're totally skipping off topic, but there's a topic that we're talking about in another episode because it was requested by Emily. Jack the Ripper, which I'm currently in the middle of doing the research on that one. But they've preserved evidence and they've started DNA testing on two of, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my God.
I love the fact that nowadays technology is able to help pass like decades, centuries old crime.
Right.
Okay. Carrying on.
Yes.
So the incest belief was intimated in local papers at the times of the murders and was revisited by scholar Marcia Carlyle in a 1992 essay.
Ooh, okay.
Mystery author Evan Hunter, also known as Ed McCain, in his 1984 novel Lizzie, suggested she had committed the murders after being caught in a tryst with Bridget the maid.
Because they were a little close from what the documents all said on the actual... Because, this is my Roman Empire.
Right. Yes. But, also, they were, close in age, too. So
right.
She probably was like, oh my God, I finally have a friend or something.
Right. And that's probably what it was.
Right. So Evan explained his speculation in a 1999 interview that Abby had caught the two and had reacted with horror and disgust, and that Lisbeth had killed Abby with a candlestick.
Right.
Well, when I first read it, caffeine hadn't kicked in, and I thought it said that because, and on my art and the article I was reading, they were just using last names, and so I thought they were talking about Uncle John and Lizzie.
Oh.
And so I was like, yeah, of course Abby was going to react with horror and disgust. Like, that's your uncle. Like, what the fuck? And so I jokingly went, it was the maid with candlestick, LOL. And then I went back and reread, and I went, it's like, oh no.
Right. No.
It was not the maid with the candlestick. So he further goes on to say that Lisbeth then told Andrew when he got home.
Mm-hmm.
And when he reacted the same way as Abby, she then killed him with the hatchet in a rage.
Right.
Evan even went on to say that Bridget disposed of the hatchet somewhere afterwards.
Right.
In her later years, it was rumored that Lisbeth was a lesbian. However, there was no speculation about Bridget, who married a man she met as a maid in Butte, Montana. Bridget died in Butte in 1948, and she allegedly gave a deathbed confession to her sister, where she said she had changed her testimony on the stand to protect Lizzie.
Oh my God.
Whether or not that's true or not, we'll never know.
Right, because obviously, I mean, we're not going to summon people to...
We don't bother the dead.
Right, we don't interrupt the dead. They've had enough of life.
If they come to us, it is entirely different.
It is Listen, I can't get Frank to leave me alone most days, okay?
Right.
This man has cupped himself to me like a goddamn sea anemone on a coral.
If he could crawl into your skin and just reside there all times, he would.
He probably would, but I think that's because I was the first person to hear him in like decades.
And he's gotten so attached to you.
He literally has. I still remember that first day. Oh my God, you can hear me, and I don't want to. I have a headache. Can you please go?
Come back when my head doesn't hurt. I'll deal with you then.
Right. Oh man, I was so mean to him. But anyways, regardless.
I mean, he stuck around, so
He did. He did. He stuck around for quite a long time.
So, another huge suspect for the murders was Uncle John.
Right.
He rarely met with the family after his sister died, which I get.
Right.
But then he slept in the house the night before the murders. According to the cops, he had provided an absurdly perfect and over-detailed alibi for the death of Abby. And he was considered to be a suspect by the police for a decently long period of time. There was a man named William Borden, who is thought to be Andrew's illegitimate son.
Oh, I heard about that. William
was noted as a possible suspect by author Arnold Brown, who thought William had tried and failed to extort money from Andrew. Author Leonard Rebello proved that William was not Andrew's son after extensive research done on William.
Oh, okay.
So he debunked that.
Right.
We like that. Even though Emma had an alibi at Fairhaven, which was 15 miles from Fall River, crime writer Frank Spearing came up with the idea in his 1984 book, Lizzie, that Emma might have secretly visited the home to kill Andrew and Abby before quickly returning to Fairhaven in time to receive the telegram that informed her of the murders.
Right. Yes.
I hate to do this, but I have got to go. We have unfortunately got a
sickness,
hair-raising situation.
Okay.
So you go take care of your family. Give them all love. I know. I had to delete that word on my side.
Okay.
I love you.
Okay. We'll see you later.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Guys.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Did you sneeze, my love? Yeah. Okay, good. I thought I heard you. Yeah. So, yeah, Emily just had to pop out. One of the kids is sick, so, hope
Poor things.
Hope they're okay. Anyways, we're gonna keep talking about it.
All right. So, they think that, it might have been Emma. But also, 15 miles then, right. That was a long fucking distance, guys.
I mean, considering the fact that, it was horse and buggy, right? It wasn't even...
Oh, they were starting to have cars then, but they were still very early stages.
Right. So it wasn't like it was super prominent, like you got a Ford on every block.
And also, then the speeds on cars then they only did a couple of miles an hour,
right? 5 or 10,
I think, at the most 10, and that was insanely fast. They thought the women's uteruses would fly out of their body. Same thing with trains, but
right,
you're here there. Wish mine would fly out of the body sometimes. Moving on. So, scholar Anne Schofield made notes that Lizzie's story has tended to take one or the other of two fictional forms, the tragic romance and the feminist quest.
Right.
As the story of Lizzie Borden has been created and recreated through rhyme and fiction, it has taken on the qualities of a popular American myth or legend that has effectively linked the present to the past.
Mm-hmm.
The house has since become a museum and operates as a bed and breakfast with 1890s styling. There are pieces of evidence that were used in the trial, including the hatchet head, that
Ooh.
are preserved at the Fall River Historical Society.
No, thank you.
Also, the rhyme that you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Abby received 18 or 19 blows, and Andrew took 11. Whereas in the rhyme, it says that she had given Abby 40 whacks and then Andrew 41.
Right.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, my turn. Okay, so you said that about the boarding house, right? Or not
Right.
boarding house, bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Moving that. Okay. Move. Great. Okay, so paranormal investigations have been done on the Lizzie house. And fun fact, I've been to the Lizzie Borden house.
Really?
I went on a tour. It was 2006.
Okay.
I flew out to Massachusetts for a friend's wedding, and it was not that far from the Borden house. So I was, of course, the maid of honor because, you know, I do everything and everything for everybody. And I'm literally sitting there. Otherwise, I'm going to eat. I was like, I'm
All the
hungry.
chips.
Yes. So we don't want chips on the podcast.
Or all over the keyboard.
Right. All over the keyboard. Can't have that. So she's like, I really want to do some true crime stuff. And I was like, okay, we could definitely do that for your wedding. Is there anything specific you want to do? And she's like, I want to go to the Borden house. And I was like, okay. So I contacted them. I went ahead, and this was years ago. And so I was like, we want to go ahead and stay. The house has been featured on Ghost Adventures, Kindred Spirits, and other ghost hunting shows. Hold on, let me just move you down here. Investigators have captured EVPs, shadow figures, temperature drops, and unexplained movements, can confirm. As a walking Ouija board, the location is at 92 2nd Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. It's not that far away from all of the basic spooky things that you like to go, because she got married in Salem. Right. It is now a popular bed and breakfast spot and popular ghost tour location. You can literally...
I still wouldn't have slept there.
You can still sleep in the room where they were murdered. You can sleep on their bed.
Nope. No thanks.
Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River has become a hotbed for ghost stories, investigations, and eerie experiences. So here is what people have said about the hauntings at 92 2nd Street. Ready?
As ready as I'm ever going to be.
Fun fact, our beloved Bagel Hands owns the house.
Really?
Ghost Adventures United States owns the house. The Lizzie Borden case remains one of the most high-profile unsolved murders in history. True crime enthusiasts continue to share the details of the crime, while horror lovers try to make contact with members of the ill-fated family. We've talked about this on several times. Do not contact dead people if you do not know how to do it.
Even if you do know how to do it, leave them alone.
I don't
They've lived their life.
Right. I've only done it a few times because I did work, in San Jose as a medium, because one of the girls I used to babysat, her dad was a cop, and he had come home one day from a job, and he was talking about a case, and I was like, oh, I had a dream about her. And he's like, what? And I was like, I think this is where she is. And they found her in the ravine in San Jose. There's this ravine. It's like a water slough off because, we go through droughts. Her body was found there.
Wow.
And I had a dream that she was driven in a car. Anyways, besides the point, I'd worked with him on a couple of cases, and he never questioned me about that. But he did tell me, He goes, I will never come to you unless I absolutely need to know this information. And I was like, I hate it. Thanks. Anyways, so the house is popular as ever, and U.S. Ghost Adventures is committed to preserving the home to reflect its original state and its lasting legacy.
I do like that, though.
I do too. So the original bedspread is not on the bed, but they found something like it. Not. Yeah, no, it's in evidence still. But I mean, they found something like it, and then they the linens and everything are the same linens from that decade. So yeah,
not exactly the linens that were on the bed, but similar of that era.
So you can actually sleep in those beds, but we'll get to that later. So they allow guests to stay in the room where Abby's body was discovered. and same with Andrew. By day, visitors can explore the museum where artifacts and true story facts are behind the murders are revealed. The reported hauntings are as such. Abby Borden's ghost has been claimed to be seen, a woman in old-fashioned clothing, especially near the guest room, where Abby was killed. Others feel a cold presence or hear weeping or whispers. The haunted guest room, which was where Abby died, many guests wake up to pressure on the chest, like someone is sitting on them. Fun fact, if you didn't know, that's when they're trying to enter you, is that pressure on your chest.
Not fun fact.
No. So you remember at the wedding when I was like, I can't breathe, I need a minute?
Yeah.
That's because somebody wanted to come
Pop
out.
in.
Yeah, and I was like, no. People have seen full-bodied apparitions of a woman standing beside the bed or feel a hand brushing their hair. Some guests bolt from the room in the middle of the night, too scared to return.
I mean, I would probably too.
Right. Andrew, his ghost has been spotted in the downstairs sitting room where he was murdered. EVP, or electronic voice phenomena sessions, often pick up gruff male voices believed to be Andrew's. So in the sitting room, visitors take photos of the couch where he was murdered, sometimes capture orbs, mist, or shadowy shapes. Fun fact, it's the exact couch he was murdered on. Not a different couch. Nothing.
I figured it would still be the same couch.
Same couch. Same rug and everything. And there's a stain on the rug and there's a stain on the floorboards. And no matter how hard they tried to scrub it to get it out, it
comes back.
It comes back. So they just stop.
Like how you do.
One recurring report, people sitting in his spot feel a sudden sharp pain or discomfort in the head, mimicking his fatal wounds.
Sheldon, it's my spot.
So, in Lizzie, on the other hand, has been seen lingering around the house. People report hearing a woman laughing, pacing, or even saying things like, I didn't do it. People who do mock Lizzie or speak ill of her in the house sometimes report getting scratched, dizzy, or nauseous. In Lizzie's bedroom, often the quietest room in the entire house, which is true, it has been known to make its guest feel unsettled. Some say that's where her energy is the strongest. Fun fact, it is. Out of the whole house, that's where I felt the most anger. Typically on murder sites, there are a lot of areas where they're angry, where they find the person who's been murdered, where they find the weapon, or where they find where they got the weapon originally, or where the person has experienced the most trauma. Her bedroom is so eerily quiet. Just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. But it was one of those things where it's kind of like, you ever get that feeling that washes over you and you just feel like somebody's walking on your grave kind of thing? That's how I felt the whole time I was in her room.
I mean, that was probably her safe space, her, like, the one place she could escape to and just...
most of the doors in the house didn't have locks, but that one did have one of those little old-timey locks where it locked on the side of the handle.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, the bathroom had one, Andrew's room had one, the guest room had one, but the parlor and all those other doors where it was the sliding doors, they didn't have those locks, but it had one of those old... So the door handles had been replaced at some time, and I think it's because those were the only ones they could find, but...
Probably.
Yeah. So guests report perfume smells, humming, and cold breezes despite closed windows. Correct. One chilling claim from an actual thing, and I'll read that later on. A mirror fogged up, and the word liar was written into it while no one was near it.
I wonder what somebody said.
I have no idea. But there are other rooms in the house, obviously, because it's a large Victorian house, that have been said to be haunted as well. The basement is said to be the most oppressive place in the house. From what we've seen in stories and retellings, because there was one that Christina Ricci did, it was actually quite good.
Yes, I actually have mention of that. Give me a second. Lizzie Borden took an axe. 2014.
Okay.
And then it was followed by the Lizzie Borden Chronicles in 2015, which was a limited series and a sequel to the movie and presents a fictionalized account of Elizabeth's life after the trial.
And then it was also talked about in American Horror Story, right?
Mm-hmm. It was talked about with a lot of things. So there was feature film in 2018 where Kristen Stewart starred or was Bridget, and it played on the lesbian tryst between Lizzie and Bridget, which led up to the murders. In 1936, a radio program, Unsolved Mysteries, broadcast a 15-minute dramatization titled The Lizzie Borden Case, with a possible scenario where the murders were committed during a botched robbery attempt by a tramp who then escaped.
Yeah, that was talked about quite a lot on some of the podcasts I listened to.
So you remember Tinsy from Yaya Sisterhood?
Yeah!
So ABC commissioned The Legend of Lizzie Borden in 1975 that starred Elizabeth Montgomery, our beautiful Bewitched
star,
yes, as Lizzie, Catherine Hellmand as Emma, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce her name because I will butcher her first name. Flanagan. It's Irish.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So the actress who plays Bridget is Tinsy from the Yaya Sisterhood. I'm not going to pronounce her name because the first name is Irish, and I cannot pronounce Irish names to save my life.
Okay.
Little fun little fact about that. Later discovered after Elizabeth Montgomery had passed that Elizabeth and Lizzie were 6 cousins once removed, both descending from 17th century Massachusetts resident John Luther. The genealogist who found out the connection said, "I wonder how Elizabeth would have felt if she knew she was playing her own cousin."
Right.
There was also a episode from Alfred Hitchcock's Presents. The title of that was The Older Sister, where it was fictionalized account of 1 year after the murders where Lizzie and Emma have a conversation about who the murderer was. There is a folk singing group called the Chad Mitchell Trio who recorded a dark humor song called Lizzie Borden for their live 1961 album, Mighty Day on Campus. It was then released as a single and reached number 44 on the Billboard Hot 10 in 1962.
Ooh.
And of course, there's the skipping rope rhyme that caused the case to be memorized. But what little people know about is that there is a second verse.
There's a second verse. Okay.
Of course there's a second verse. There's always a second verse.
Okay.
Andrew Borden now is dead. Lizzie hit him on the head. Up in heaven he will sing. On the gallows she will swing.
Wow.
Right. She's been depicted in music, radio, film, theater, and TV. And just about always associated with the murders.
Right.
It started in 1933 when she started getting depicted in films and music. And so in 1933, a play called 9 Pine Street had a character that was based on Elizabeth. The play wasn't successful and only ran for 28 performances.
Right.
In 1947, there was a 1-act play called Goodbye, Miss Lizzie Borden.
Okay.
There was a 1952 Broadway musical called Lizzie Borden that depicted the crimes. There was a 1948 ballet that was based on Elizabeth and the Murders. In 1965, there was an opera named Lizzie Borden that was based on Lizzie and the Murders. And so many other plays were based on her.
Right.
In 1980, Blood Relations was a Canadian production that recounted events leading up to the murders, and it was made into a TV movie in Calgary. There was also a music adaptation that was also made.
Oh.
In March of 1958, an episode of Omnibus had 2 different adaptations of her story.
Mm-hmm.
In 1959, The Legend of Lizzie only had 2 performances.
Oh.
So, like, a lot of these things, like, maybe she didn't like what they were saying, so she's like, nope, not gonna let this be successful.
Jesus.
Lizzie, the musical, premiered in 2009 with a book by Tim Manor. The musical had its origins in a 1990s song cycle and focused on a secret romance between Lizzie and their neighbor Alice, as well as her abuse at home.
Oh.
A feature filmed Lizzie in 2018 with, I already said that. That's the Kristen Stewart movie. There have been numerous documentary programs. In 1936, a radio program. Yeah, I already read that. That was the Unsolved Mysteries one.
Yeah.
Jumping back and forth.
It's okay.
TV recreations have included episodes of Biography, Second Verdict, History's Mysteries, Case Reopened, which came out in 1999, and Mysteries Decoded in 2019.
Okay.
The case has also been partly dramatized on an episode of the 2022 BBC radio podcast series, Lucy Worsley's Lady Killers. I absolutely love her podcast and all of like the historical things she does about like the castles and lifestyles of like over in the UK. I could listen to her all day. There's even an American heavy metal band named after her.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking great, man. Not even kidding you. I had one of their vinyls, but
oh my god,
yeah,
fuck fires.
Yeah.
And there is an American film director that took her name.
Oh, okay.
So, for book-wise, Agatha Christie's novel Sleeping Murder.
Yep.
And Then There Were None.
Mm-hmm.
After the Funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And Ordeal by Innocence all reference the case or Lizzie's name.
Right. You know who told me about that?
Who?
Meg. She's addicted to Agatha Christie. I'm still on the hunt for some Agatha Christie novels for her. My friend has a bunch of estate sales she goes to in California, right. So she's on the hunt.
The Fall River Axe Murders by Angela Carter was published in her collection Black Venus in 1985. Lizzie's Tiger was also written by Angela Carter, mm-hmm. and depicts Lizzie, imagined as a 4-year-old, having an extraordinary encounter at the circus.
Oh,
the
cool.
story was published posthumously in 1993 in her collection American Ghosts and Old World Wonders.
Damn.
A 1989 novel, Miss Lizzie, takes place 30 years after the murders and recounts an unlikely friendship between Lizzie and a child and the suspicions that arise from a murder.
Ooh.
Like that kind of sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to look that one up. Then there is Maplecroft, the Borden Dispatches, mm-hmm. which was a 2014 novel by Sherry Priest. The first in a series of novels where Sherry adds elements of Lovecraftian horror to Lizzie's tale. In 2017, this novel, See What I Have Done, tells the story of the murders and their aftermath from the point of view of Lizzie, Emma, Bridget, and an imagined stranger.
Oh.
It won the Mudd Literary Prize for a debut novel.
Oh.
Right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we get awards for this now. 2017 novel The Murderer's Maid is told from Bridget's point of view in 1892 and a young woman with a connection to the case in the modern day. It won a gold medal for historical fiction in the Independent Publisher Book Awards.
Oh. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's all I have on Lizzie.
Well, you know, we were talking about the other haunted places in the house. The basement. Right. It was said previously on the Unsolved Mysteries episode and stuff like that, that's where her and her sister were locked in the basement. From what some of the maids and what the other help had said, is that they were locked in the basement and tortured down there by the evil stepmother.
I mean, from everything I've read, they did not have a loving relationship with the stepmother whatsoever.
No, I'm a whole thing, especially when it comes to my adopted kids. And, you know, I explain this to Josh. No is a complete sentence. So
exactly.
If any of my kids or any of my friends' kids say no, I went to a birthday party here locally. He was gone. This was last year. And they were just like, we just need some bodies. And I was like, I can definitely come. I could be quote unquote grandma. And she goes, go ahead and give her a hug. And I was like, hold on. Do you want a hug, a high five, or knuckles? And he went, can we do knuckles? I said, absolutely. Give it here, buddy. And she goes, what? And I said, no is a complete sentence.
Right.
Honor that bodily autonomy, because I don't want you to have a relationship with them that I had a relationship with my mother, where I was forced to give people hugs that made me severely uncomfortable. So I can understand that. There's, you know, a lot to be said about the basement because it is the most active EVP wise in the entire house. Not the rooms they were murdered, not Lizzie's room, not her sister's room, not the kitchen even.
Because so much trauma happened there.
Correct. So we were talking earlier about trauma being a big thing, right? Cold spots are huge in there, but it was also meant as cold storage for the house.
Right.
So I can understand that because it says even in summer, cold spots were meant to happen. Yeah, because it was cold storage. Duh.
Right. That's where they stored like the milk, the eggs, the cheese.
However, growls and whispers have been recorded.
Oh.
Yeah. Some have claimed to hear a woman crying down there, perhaps Lizzie or her sister. Child's voices. Oddly enough, some visitors have reported hearing giggling of children, despite no children being part of that. But you were on the episode with me and Meg where we talked about recalls.
Mm-hmm.
Where ghosts relive certain memories.
Right.
They said it could be residual energy or unrelated hauntings, anything like that. But you have to remember this was also reclaimed land from natives. So it could have been native children. You know, we don't know.
Exactly.
Phantom footsteps and doors slamming. Classic haunted house vibes. Footsteps on stairs, doors opening or closing, lights turning off and on. Normal shit. Objects have reportedly moved by themselves. Like kitchen items moving from shelf to shelf or across the counter, and rocking chairs moving when there's no air duct in the area.
Interesting.
There have also been theories behind the hauntings as well. So they think the residual haunting, many believe the intense violence and emotional energy of the double murder left behind a residual imprint, which is what we've talked about before, the loop. You actually got me into a really great show, which husband and I are going to finish, called The Dead Boy Detectives.
Oh my God.
I love that show. They didn't come out with a new season, so I'm kind of pissed. But
I'm going to see to make sure that they come out with another season.
So when you have a loop or a residual imprint, it's kind of like replaying the same memory over and over and over again. And there was an episode on Dead Boy Detectives where they do go into this haunted house and it replays a loop That's why people often hear sounds of arguing, footsteps, or screams around 11 a.m., which was around the approximate time of the murders. What's wrong?
Netflix canceled it.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. Somebody else pick up Dead Boy Detectives, because that shit's peak level. I love that shit.
It was so good.
It was. And the cinematic filming of it.
I know. It was fantastic.
It reminds me of a cross of the UK show Misfits and The Librarians, which are actually coming out with a new show for The Librarians.
Oh boy.
The guy, Manuel, what's his face, that Emily's obsessed with, from Hamilton?
Yes.
He's going to be the lead artificer on the on the Librarians. So another fun thing, another theory behind the hauntings is intelligent spirits. Paranormal investigators think that they may have intelligent entities in the home, spirits aware of the actual living, which does happen. Hence, Frank, Abuela, Rachel's Mimi, who comes to visit. They know that they're dead. It isn't common. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, this is hugely common." It's not. The ones that are intelligent or in presence, they interact with the EVP sessions, move objects, or respond to questions, even claim to have conversations with Lizzie or Abby. Some theorists suspect that the house is haunted not by ghosts, but by a psychic buildup of guilt or fear, which is also a thing, which is how the loops are created in the first place.
That would make sense.
Especially if Lizzie committed the crime and never confessed, like outright. That kind of unresolved trauma can manifest as poltergeist-like activity, like the looping, or for you guys who love Ghostbusters, Slimer. That's considered like a poltergeist activity, or even the Lady Librarian in the original movie in the 80s and 90s. Banging of cabinets, of doors, flickering of lights, all that kind of stuff. So, we talked earlier about the bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Did you know you can stay overnight at this breathtaking B&B where you can sleep but not stay during the day? You can get a suite, such as Lizzie and Emma's suite, or the Andrew and Abby suite, from $275 to $330 a night. You can usually do an extra charge for each guest beyond the base occupancy of the room or suite, which is up to 4 people.
Okay.
You can have a traditional breakfast in the Borden house for an additional $20. That is not included in the price, which does a modern mix to conjure things up for a little bit more. Check-in starts at 5 p.m. Check-out is promptly at 10, because there are daily tours from 10 a.m. to 5.
Right. So they want you any shit out.
Yeah. You can rent the entire house, but in order to do so, you have to contact the estate.
I mean, it makes sense.
It can apparently accommodate up to 20 people in 6 bedrooms, which has a total of 8 beds in the whole house. There is a ghost tour that is every hour on the hour, and the guest experience are as follows. Reviews from the bed and breakfast and ghost tours are filled with claims of mysterious sounds, of doors opening, uneasy feelings. Some guests even leave offering in the rooms.
Don't do that, guys.
Flowers for Abby, letters to Lizzie, and swear the energy shifts after doing so. That being said, the Lizzie Borden house has a whopping 4.8 stars and 3,727 reviews. Not bad for a haunted house.
No, not really.
So, that said, we have some reviews about the B&B.
Some very haunted reviews.
Very haunted reviews. First one being for Alice. This was 5 months ago, as of yesterday. Yeah, I think it's important to realize that you are staying in a historic home that is steeped in legend. The owners have done an amazing job, thank you Ghost Hunters and Bagel Hands, for recreating the feel of an era to give you a truly haunting experience. Therefore, you will not get the highest thread count sheets or ample plugs for your devices, but that's okay.
It's valid.
The part you will get is a very, very, very spooky, and in my case, one that led me and my husband to leave in the middle of the night.
Oh, man.
But for those with stronger constitutions and less wild imagination and maybe less Catholic guilt, you won't regret your stay.
Yeah, the Catherine guilt,
Yep.
man.
My lack of 5 stars is related to some confusion about the sometimes contradictory emails that I received a week leading up to the stay. She did 4 stars. Nicole Ray did 4 stars as well. My experience was cool. I was happy to have been a part of it. I wouldn't want to stay more than one night as they do tours daily and you cannot be in the building between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. The people were great and the spooky vibe was made all better with the sounds at night and the drawing on the walls when we woke up.
I'm sorry, what?
Definitely recommend the ghost hunting in the area. 10 out of 10, very spooky.
You're just like plowing right past that. Like, nope, not touching that.
Nope. No, I'm not. The Lizzie Borden house from Randy H. This is truly about the people who run it, who are absolutely honest and wonderful. The experience of staying overnight was exciting. The house speaks for itself. It often does when it's haunted.
Right.
It was an original experience that did not feel contrived in any way. Excuse me. Some of the memorabilia was captivating and made you really think about the then trial of the century throughout the visit. The accommodations and other house common areas were immaculate and the beds comfy. The next morning, we particularly enjoyed sitting in the Borden dining room, eating breakfast we purchased, 20 per person, prepared by a wonderful chef in the kitchen while we had our coffee and orange juice included with breakfast. Just can't say enough about the killer pancakes. Well worth the cost before hitting the road. Thank you to the staff and all the folks that run the Lizzie Borden house. Your effort goes above all others, 5 out of 5 stars.
I love to play on words there.
Then we have the last review, which I had to include, which was a month ago, by Bill. Our tour and stay were excellent. We were the only ones staying there except for a ghost hunter that was down in the basement. Whoever that was very quiet. As for the service, it's odd that there's no one there to check you into your room, so it made a little nerve-wracking not knowing where we were going to get in or not. There was also no key for us to use to get into the room if we wanted to leave and go back. You entered through a side door using a code which was sent to us via email. Otherwise, everything was excellent, including breakfast.
Are they sure there was somebody in the basement?
There was.
Okay. I'm like,
response
they
from
were
the
like,
owner.
It was so quiet. Like, we never even knew they were there. Are we sure they were?
As it sounds like you encountered quite the atmosphere with the ghost hunter in the basement. We're glad you found everything and them to your liking. I did not like going to this house. I've gone to a couple of haunted places. I mean, I myself am a haunted house.
This is true.
But I've gone to, Hearst Castle, Winchester Mystery House. I've gone to everywhere out there. The one place that I went to in Massachusetts that I'm probably never going to go back to, is the Witches Cemetery in Salem. I don't think I'll ever go back there. It was, heavy isn't the right word. It was just smothering was a good word. I couldn't breathe. But the Lizzie Borden house, because we went there, we went to Salem, we went to, there's like a Pioneer thing. They ended up filming Wednesday out there. It's like a Pioneer village or whatever. Went there because she wanted to get drunk and accost the Pioneer people. And I was like, fine, if you want to go do that, we'll do that.
I know what village you're talking about now.
You know what I'm talking about. But we did like a road trip and we had a Winnebago and everything like that. I drove because I know how to drive those things. But I mean, like, besides the point. We did this. It was fun. I will never go back to that house. I had to do full cleansings for everybody, even though we had like a shower and everything in the house. I was like, we're getting a hotel room for tonight. We're cleansing.
Different kind of cleansing.
Everything from top down, just the whole thing. And if you guys want to go to Lizzie Borden house, do it. The ghost tour is so much fun. The people there are super nice. Very, very informative. But it's a sad case.
Be respectful, guys.
Super respectful. Like, don't laugh at the situation. Don't like, people are dead. Yeah, we make snide comments and we make commentary in here, but we have to make light of a situation that's already making us uncomfortable.
Right.
Did you enjoy The Haunting?
I did.
I enjoyed your research.
The boyfriend just asked me, "Who's Lizzie Borden?" Sir!
You listen! We gotta get some education. You gotta educate the bitch.
I know. I'm going to.
Shit.
I just went, "You don't know who Lizzie Borden is?"
Lizzie Borden had an axe, gave her father 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her mother 40 what? And now after hearing this podcast, you know that's absolute shit. And that's not exactly what happened. It was a nursery rhyme, but I had fun today.
Oh, good. I did too.
That being said, stay feral.
Bite the hand.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Next time on the Pandemonium Witches. So in mid-19th century, so we're talking about the 1800s here, ye old England, 55% of children born in East End died before they were 5 years old, and I get more into that. Robbery.
Because
Diseases was a notorious den of sin and immorality. Not immortality.
I was about to say.
There were 5 known victims known as the Canonical Five. Their murders were between August the 31st and November 9th of 88, and they were often considered the most likely to be linked to Jack the Ripper due to their way that they were dead. How they died.